What is going on, everybody? I hope you're all well, and welcome back to Final Fantasy. I got my coffee, and with Leviathan dead, there really is only just left to wrap up all these side quests. See where this finally gets to going. I think Fanette is the one with Loverboy, right? Maybe not, I don't know. Let's see how all this turned out.
I think I might have found a way to break Talor's curse.
Ah, okay, this is the healer.
Go on.
Well, after listening to the village elders and scouring every likely-looking tome in the library, I learned that not all Tombries are the same little green menaces we know and loathe. Apparently, a chosen few live to incredible ages and grow to many times the size of their counterparts. The folktales hold that it's the very eldest of these, the Tombury kings, who weave the curses, and that their magics bind their victims to them, that they might continue to feed on their pain.
So if we slay the one that cast the curse, the feeding will cease.
But that was my thinking, yes. Though I doubt it'll be easy. These kings are not just bigger, they're stronger too. And if the tales are true, their followers will defend them to the death. It is a perilous proposition, in short, but it may also be Talor's only hope. What say you?
Like I could refuse. I mean, I just fought an ocean
I'll
god.
do it.
I'm not afraid of some Tomberries, right?
Even if killing this king doesn't break the curse, Mysidia will be a safer place for its removal.
Thank you.
Very valid point, too.
So then, where will I find it?
That, alas, I do not know. It must have woven the curse at the altar in Father's Fell, but as to where it is now...
Fanette, you were the one asking about Tonberries, right? Because there's a whole bloody army of them out on the cloak.
What? But why would they stray so far? And why now?
There's only one way to find out. I'll head up the mountain and see what's going on.
Right. Thank you. And please, be careful.
I am glad that, I mean, I guess I didn't really talk about it much last episode because I needed to wrap it up because it's getting on. But I am glad that they addressed the fact that Ultima had literally never mentioned Leviathan or tried to get us to take that as a vessel. I am glad they squared that away with a lore reason. That would have bothered me, I think. That would have subtracted points from the overall narrative, at least for me. I'm glad they kind of addressed that.
Found her. They're almost at the gate. But they won't be coming any closer.
Howdy, friends.
It's over.
I might keep the cannon, it's kind of fun. The shotgun blast was doing pretty good stagger damage. Instead of chopping away at a boss with a sword, I can just blast them
That
with
should
that.
buy Haven some time at least.
Clive, are you all right?
Fine. We've taken care of the immediate threat.
Thank the tides. I was worried I was going to lose you both. Talor, he took a sudden turn for the worse just after you left.
What? Is he?
No, he's hanging on. I fear the Tombury king may have begun the cursing ritual again. In earnest this time. And I can't imagine their being here as a coincidence. I think it might be happening on this very mountain.
If it is, it won't be for long. Get back to Talor. I'm going up.
My thanks. I shall pray for both of you.
Yeah, I'm happy to take care of it. Plus more XP. Not sure what the max level is. Maybe we're already at it, but
More of them.
We pay attention actually. Let's see
Come on,
if
then.
we get XP for these
I
kills.
crave an audience with your king.
Okay, so that's that. It certainly feels more efficient than the sword, since it kind of replaces the sword. I think I might keep this. Here we are, in fact, getting experience. Yeah, I think I will stick with the water cannon for Leviathan. Extended dodge is kind of nice to stay away from bosses and stuff like that too.
It's over.
You gotta go all the way up the mountain, okay. It certainly is more efficient. It's doing... Well, what does the sword do? Let's see.
They don't look very regal.
The sword is 600. That's 215, 215, 215, and then a big splash 800 on the crosswell.
It's over.
Even more hefty if you actually barrel stuff them with it. We'll probably mix and match depending on the situation. Use that for anything with a stagger bar. Or if it's a big mob, we'll lean on that a little heavier. Get the Hexa first.
Display, brother.
Yeah, I imagine all these side quests are going to be actually a little relaxing since we just fought the god of the ocean. Maybe we'll get some of the pieces we need to craft that Tomberry knife and some of this stuff, because I'm definitely invested in getting something that does 700 stagger damage for sword swipe.
You're finished.
It's definitely on my to-do list.
Still no sign of the king. Could Fanat have been wrong?
That being said, I probably won't go too far out of my way to get it either, though. If we don't have it by the time we have wrapped up these side quests,
The king must be close.
then I'll probably just leave it at that.
We'll have to take care of his followers first.
Here's the little shit caster. You.
That's a lot of Tomberries.
See the one chasing me in the back, he's cooked.
Enough.
$52 now. Honestly, it's surprised with the amount of force that these little shits have. I'm surprised they haven't tried to take the island.
Looks like that's the last of them.
Did they just not care to?
Out here, anyway.
Yeah, maybe they just don't care to have the
Beastmen
island.
do like dark places.
The amount of men that they have, surely they could. Get like 200 of these things coming up the mountain. Gonna have those little resonance stone things too.
Well, I'll be damned.
Oh, I took it away. I'll take the crown. That'd look good on my memorial table. Thunberg King.
It even has a crown. Sorry, Your Majesty, but your reign ends here.
Do this to build up that multiplier too. Make sure we barrel stuff them. Yeah, multipliers all the way up at 2 times already. That's the end of him. Yeah, I like the water cannon. If you use that correctly, it's very strong for staggers. I'm burning that stagger bar way faster than I would be otherwise with just will-o'-the-wisps and stuff. There's the notch tang that we needed.
It's done. Which means the curse should be broken.
Hopefully.
Let's see how Talor's doing.
Now we just need some orichalcum, I think, for the knife. It reminds me of the Butcher's Blade from the Dark Souls series. That entire enemy reminds me of Souls. It's the kind of thing you see in, like, the Undead Burg.
Clive! Is it done then?
Or Blighttown.
It is. I was going to ask if there had been any change in Talor's condition, but judging by that smile on your face,
If I have
think
anybody
already
of
know the
culture in
answer.
my
You
YouTube
do?
section, you all know what Blighttown is.
Talor! He's back!
The fun, wonderful place that it be.
Thank you, my lord. I can never repay you for everything you've done for me. I owe you my life.
I'm just glad the curse is lifted. There is one thing I'd like to know, though. If you don't mind my asking. What made you seek the Tombury's help in the first place?
Oh, that, well, you deserve to know. It was years ago now, back in my trading days. The Sons of Greek arrested me in Oriflamme, chained me up in a lightless cell with a great sword hung over my head, ready to fall if I didn't confess. Though they never said to what. I didn't, of course. So eventually they just let me go. And I never told a soul. Tried to forget it ever happened. But then you came along and the sight of your sword brought it all flooding back. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't hardly breathe, and I thought that if I gave my old chain to the Tomburys, maybe they could take all that pain away. All that anger. But it only made it worse.
Oriflamme has fallen. And the men who tortured you likely fell with it.
If only I'd known, I might have spared everyone a lot of trouble. I'd convinced myself that you were like them, that all outsiders were the same, but you're not. Far from it.
Kind of you to notice.
Thank you, son. Thank you.
I like how different lands have their own little salutes like that. The Rosarian one is my favorite, of course. They're all pretty good.
Clive, there's something I need to tell you. After we parted ways on the path to the cloak, I went straight back to Talor and explained to him what you were doing on his behalf. And just like that, his pain began to fade.
What do you mean? Just like that? The Tombury King would have still been alive. I had to contend with dozens of his minions before I found him.
Then, perhaps one of them warned him of your coming and he broke off his ritual. Or, perhaps, knowing that an outsider was fighting for him was what lifted the weight from Talor's heart. I know, from experience, that many illnesses are not wholly physical, but of the spirit, at least in part.
Was there ever
That's
really
true.
a curse then? Or was Talor simply suffering from the pain of his memories? And the guilt
I
of
mean,
what
it's
he'd done?
literally possible to die of heartbreak, so he's pretty
What
spot on with
difference it
that.
makes. I suppose we'll never know.
Maybe not. But this much I do know. It was your strength and your selflessness that healed his heart in the end.
I'll be sure to tell my healer friend when I get home.
Especially with curses and things like that. If there ever was a curse. Which, I mean, looking at those Tomburys, it didn't look beyond them to be casting curses, but even if it wasn't, I still believe that it's possible that it was. But the quest was above his head.
Yes?
How close are we to that? We are just missing the aqueous membrane.
Good tide to you.
Yeah, a lot of times it'll be the strangest, damnedest things that cure curses like that. Not always necessarily just go break the thing. Let's talk to Delina first.
My lord, might I have a moment of your time? I would beg of you a service.
Of course.
Certainly. What is it?
It's a long story. But before we get to that, would I be right in thinking Lady Shula told you about the witch from the north?
You would?
Yes. She said that your ancestors found her here, and that it was she who taught them the spell to stop time. She was like Walius, you know. A dominant. The Warden of Ice.
My great-grandmother suspected as much. She cared for the poor woman when the end was near. And it was she whose duty became to attend her grave. A duty that was passed down to me.
I see. And the service you would beg of me?
Well, until recently, the path to the grave had long been blocked by a fallen tree. But when our woodsmen finally found time to move it, we quickly realized it might have been better had they not. On trying to clear the rest of the path, you see, we discovered that a flock of bloodthirsty beasts had claimed the cliffs beyond. None of us was a match for them. But you, my lord, have proven your strength many times over. Would you drive them away for us?
I don't see why not.
Of course. I'll see the path is made safe.
Thank you, my lord. The grave is in a place called Witch Drop. To reach it, one must turn left at the Winged Wains, then follow the path around to
These
the right.
people have earned a little
into the forest.
assistance from us, right?
Why so far from Haven?
It was where she lived. When our ancestors first came to Mysidia, they found her there, in an old abandoned village, and it was her heartfelt wish to return there in death. So when she passed away, my great-grandmother had a stone erected for her on the cliffs overlooking the place she once called home.
How thoughtful. Well then, no time like the present. Left at the ships, then round to the right, you said.
Just so. Thank you once again, my lord. I will join you at the grave anon.
That whole witch story is interesting. It's also quite interesting that they... What did he say it was? He said it was the Empire, right? That they were trying to make
about
the
the wolves?
dominant of Shiva stop the fall of Drake's eyes. So they had her locked up, trying to make her figure out a way to stop all that, which is how she created the time freeze and stuff. That witch turning out to be Shiva's dominant, and of course being involved in the Empire, just like they had Jill fighting for him. That's all very interesting. We saw two dominants of Shiva in this whole thing. Next to a tree. That's what I meant to do. You know, one thing that I'm happy about using that water cannon is all those flying little shits can't get away from me anymore. I'm gonna spam the shotgun at them. I'm still stuck on the timekeeper fight. Man, that was phenomenal. That fight was very, very good. We already missed our turn. Left at the ships. That timekeeper encounter is probably my favorite fight in the whole game. Beautiful moveset, had plenty of variation in the animations. Aesthetically, it's beautiful. I mean, all the ice and stuff. Reminded me of the Carrion Knights in Elden Ring. Banker right up here.
This should be the path to Witch Drop. Hungry, Toggle.
Speaking of all that stuff too, I do wish that Elden Ring's DLC had been on sale during the winter sale. Of course it wasn't. If it had, y'all would have been having Shadow of the Erdtree on the channel too. Then again, I suppose I should probably do Elden Ring before I do Shadow of the Erdtree, right? I don't know what I would do with the Souls games if I ever put them on the channel. I want to, but I'm not sure what I would do. I don't know if I'll break it down into episodes, like sections of the game. Or if I'll just say to hell with that and only record the boss fights. I'm not sure the best format for that. I suppose if anybody's watching this, you can let me know what you prefer.
Here's our welcoming party.
Would you want to see like the whole shebang, or would you only want to see the juicy stuff, the boss fights? Already at 2, that's nuts. Yeah, just had a very bad day.
That's it.
Sharp fang and a bloody hide. But part of me thinks time would be better spent just showing you all the boss fights. That's what everybody comes for, right? But
Where's the grave?
maybe the exploration and the loot pickups and all that stuff would be a good idea too. Because I know a lot of people like to watch Souls content in form of walkthroughs to kind of show you what to do. So maybe I'll make Dark Souls walkthrough. I have a lot of experience with all those games. I beat them all multiple times. I love all of them to death, apart from Dark Souls 2. That's kind of red-headed stepchild to me, but...
This must be it.
My lord, thank you for making the path safe again.
Ise. Was that her name?
Yes. Hardly the most fitting tribute for a dominant, is it? A rough-hewn stone with naught but a given name engraved on it. But my ancestors had only been here a matter of weeks when she passed. Every day was a struggle to survive. They had neither the time nor the energy to devote to a more elaborate memorial. Yet they spared what they could to grant her wish, that even in death she might continue to watch over her home.
She
Not
lived
much
down there,
left of
then,
it now.
in the ruins.
I doubt
That's
there were
right.
ruins back then.
They were once the living quarters for those who served up in the temple. When the Northern Thanes sent her here to weave her spell, this was where she and her retinue stayed. There were priests, handmaidens, and a knight sworn to shield her from harm. Of course, they were all gone by the time my ancestors arrived, fled or dead in the Western Wars.
All except Ise, who remained till the end. Alone.
Indeed. At least, that is the story as it's been handed down in Haven. But there is an epilogue to the tale. One known only to Lady Shula and myself. Some years after Ise's passing, you see, my grandmother came here to tend the grave and found a stranger kneeling before it. A knight, dressed head to toe in plate. She asked of him who he was and whence he had come, but received no answer. The only words he spoke were, "Tell me true, whose grave is this?" So she told him, of how her people had met and cared for Issei, and how she had died. His only reaction was to stare up at the Heir of Hours in silence. Then he left, never to be seen again.
I think that's the night we...
You said he was
care
wearing
of.
plate. Was it black and gold?
Do you know something of him?
When we went up to the Heir of Hours to unravel the spell, we were set upon by a shade in the shape of a knight in full plate. It manifested in front of the Vare, and in its ether, I felt Shiva, the witch.
You think this may have been the same man my great-grandmother met? Issei's knight?
I don't know. Maybe. All I can say for sure is it was intent on protecting her creation.
Or perhaps her spirit? What remained of her ether, preserved in the Vare? Perhaps his spirit too became enraveled in her spell, frozen in an eternal vigil.
Till we ended it.
If the shade you fought was Issei's knight, then ending it was the greatest gift you could have given him. Now he can return to the sea, to be with his lady once more.
True.
And if his spirit should ever return here to visit her grave, I shall ask his name, that I might carve it in the stone next to hers.
That they might be together. Once and for all.
That's a really nice touch. Things like this is why I'm loving this game. They didn't need to make that to add context and story to the night up there, but they did. I'm a big fan of little details like that. You know, I should probably start trying to come up with some kind of review process that I'm going to do at the end of this game. But closing in, after these few little side quests that we have left, we're going to be heading to Origin to fight Ultima. I have to try and come up with some kind of way to put all my feelings about this game into words at the end of it while the subtitles roll. What do we have? We have 2 more left. Right. Well, we've been going for around half an hour, and since we have 2 side quests left still, I will probably split the episode and we'll use the next one to just completely wrap up Mysidia. So that will be the wrap for this one, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, there is, as always, a tip link in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you soon with more Final Fantasy. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.